Hey friends, thank you for joining me. Welcome back. If this is your first time checking out my garden, thank you for coming by. My name is Carol. My channel is called Just Keep Blooming. Week 5 of our garden updates, our garden strolls, and everything's starting to pop, and we've got some good things planted in the raised beds, and I can't wait to show you. So let's go look at the garden. First thing you probably notice is it's not raining, and I'm not bundled up in a whole winter jacket. So we're having a good little moment here with the weather. But I want to show you first what's happening in the English garden. I do have a lot of perennials, like I told you, coming up, and so you can just see some of the irises. I've got onions, I've got some lilies, some Siberian irises, as well as some sweet peas that are coming up. Yes, I absolutely need to thin these out, but this is what happens when they're just kind of left unkept. These are like a cornflower, these blue ones, but they're pretty invasive, and so I end up pulling a lot of those off. Sometimes, you know, the gift of plants people giving you are never that great. I got tulips coming up through here. I got my I've got another lavender. It seems to be coming back. We see now like how high the clematis is, and we actually have a couple of little buds that are getting ready to start coming out on here. My goal is to try to get these to slither on up through these poles here, and maybe even get on this and have this all covered with, have this and this all covered with clematis. They're like these beautiful purple, dark purple flowers. They're gorgeous. And we've got poppies coming in over here. And you're going to hear a lot of dogs barking in the background. Hopefully not too many. We're just having, so everyone's very excited that everybody's home. So let me show you where the rose is going, what's going on with the rose. I did trim her. I am not seeing any additional growth kind of come up through there. So we're going to give her another week and then just kind of switch the pots out and put this into another space, see how it goes. Let's see. I'm going to go this way. For our raised beds, I have everything netted. I dug down and kind of put the compost in a little bit deeper. I stopped at a really great nursery the other day, and we picked up a few starter plants. So we picked up some curly kale, as well as a couple of cauliflowers and some broccoli and some red cabbage. So we were able to put that in our beds, and we pulled out a lot of stuff out of the greenhouse and started putting that all in the beds too. And I put some sweet peas down here to try to see about growing up on this. Got all of the beds taken care of, and what you can start to see with all excitement and all glory is you can really start to see our irrigation system that's been put in. I've got some really good pictures of us, of how we were, how they're protecting the house. When we were putting this in over the week, it's all soaker hose, and we try to do it so we're not using as many parts as possible. So it's just very Tetris through there, and I am so excited. We've already started using it a couple of times this week, and it's made all the difference. Even though we had all that rain, it's been kind of cold and it's been a little bit windy. So that, just like how that dries out your skin, it dries out your soil. So I've been putting, once we kind of dug everything in, I've been topping off a little bit with like mulch or straw. I'm going to put some more in. We have our beds here. Oh yeah, and I got Brussels sprouts kind of going back through there. And you can see where everything's netted, because you know the cabbage flower, the cabbage, the little white caterpillar that, you know, parade as butterflies but are not They are very bad in our area. We've already seen a couple of them. Fortunately, we have a lot of birds that come into our yard, so hopefully they'll help out with some of the pest pressure. But, you know, better safe than sorry. When you go down to the asparagus bed, you can see the irrigation comes in a lot better. We have it all pinned down with these. These are actually just wire hangers that we had just kind of cut in half, and they work great for like little projects, or if you need like little things of wire, you don't have to go out and buy a whole spool. You can see how we kind of have it bending through there on the asparagus bed. As far as the asparagus bed goes, I can't tell if the asparagus are doing okay or not. I think I'm going to go back in with a lot of compost and water them again real heavy. I feel like I should be getting something, but again, this is my first time going through this, so we'll see how it goes. All right, on the back of the raised beds here, we also put an irrigation system in through this one. We have it to where it can kind of jump the shark and connect over to there, so that's why we have this tube. So it's just one hose. If you know the frustration of trying to hand water, and I've hand watered this garden for probably for the past 3 to 4 years. As it started building, when it was just one raised bed, it was fine. Then I had some containers. Then we put stuff over on the other side. Chili Pepper, what are you doing? No. This is Chili Pepper. So to me, it's just like a huge time saver. It just makes me feel like I'm able to do some things a little bit more consistently for the garden, as far as really getting really consistent, like deep watering in. So I don't know why it took me so long to pull the trigger on this. If this is something that you're thinking about, definitely do it, even though it's not going to be perfect, because you can always improve upon it. So don't be mad like me and wait like 5 years and trying to keep your garden alive, especially when the heat starts to come on there. We did notice that once we started putting the irrigation system on and turning the water on, this bed drains incredibly quick. There was water being pulled out of the bed. The bed itself was holding some moisture, but it was flowing out, so we're trying to add more organic material. I'm putting like more hay on top of it to try to slow it down, so that way we can be able to really make sure these beds, hold their moisture. As far as the items that I had put in, everything seems to be doing okay except for the spinach. I just don't have a lot of luck with spinach. I'm going to try and do another seeding of it, but as far as like the tatsoi and the Swiss chard and things like that, they seem to be doing really well. I did put some red cabbage in from some of the seedlings that we got last week. So, and they seem to be taking really nicely. Like they've kind of made it, I can see where that's kind of made a difference. So, everything is just like, we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. Let's go around to the pollinator garden. Pollinator alley. Okay, welcome to the pollinator alley. There's not been a significant change on here. I did move some of this back here. I think I'm going to be painting some of this. I started some milkweed, as well as I'm going to be getting some native plants at one of the sales, which I think would be really nice for this area. You see like the primroses and the tulips and everything kind of bounced back. I haven't put anything in the containers yet. There's actually things, perennials that are popping up from them that, it'd be kind of cool to see what they are. But, and I even have hollyhocks that I was thinking about putting back here, but I don't know if they're going to be able to get enough light. So you can see all that coming on through there. We can peek in through like Lake Lois. I did do a little bit of planting. Oh, Chili, you want to show them? Did do a little bit of planting, put some primroses and stuff down here. I believe dianthus is that's the best way you describe that, is coming up, and you can see where I have some hostas that were planted that are starting to make it go for it. Although I am not sure if I am absolutely happy with hostas being in that space. It's just okay for me. So let's go to the greenhouse. All right, let's get into this greenhouse. I did a major clean. I think for anyone that's going to be getting a greenhouse or getting kind of a polytunnel or whatever, you just know that when you're working in it, it's just going to be messy, and you're going to just have to constantly kind of keep up on top of it, because it's very easy to load some things in there. I cleaned it up and made it so I had some room for the doggies. Starting off some sweet potatoes. You see where all of my early spring stuff is potted up, and I'm going to start kind of just gifting all this up, because as much as I can put in the garden. Artichokes are doing good. I split up my leeks. I split up the Swiss chard. I split up the cosmos. I started another round of zinnias and marigolds and calendulas and some plants back through there. Those will all go in the garden. Then I have, some butterfly blue peas that I'm growing. I've got 2 that actually sprouted, so that'll be kind of cool. And here are all my spring to summer vegetables. I've been picking up some starts from some whenever I see a good sale, but my eggplants, my peppers, all my tomatoes, and so that's coming through. Got some sugar peas, and this is where I did like a little thing of 3 different types of milkweeds. I got a butterfly, which is the orange. I have a pink milkweed, and I have a white milkweed. So that should see how that happens. We'll see how that goes. Let's go out front. Let's go on the other side of the greenhouse. And you can see here where I've pulled out a lot of the seedlings. They're being potted up and getting ready to be either put into the garden. I have it all on that huge, my water tank. Watch your foot. Over here by the native plant butterfly garden, I have been on a countdown. I have a couple of little green buddy heads, so next week should be pretty exciting. I believe it's supposed to rain either tomorrow or sometime over the weekend. It's supposed to rain Wednesday, but it didn't rain. So that'll be exciting. I can't wait to see how that's gonna look. You see here how big the comfrey. I tell you, between the clematis and the comfrey, each day it seems like a huge. This is just going to fill all of this up. I'm going to let it get just a little bit bigger before I chop it and start using it to make like some weed tea or comfrey tea. Over here are all of the. This is kind of like all the lettuces and topsoys and things like that, because it's just too hot in the greenhouse. And so one of the things that I did notice to start kind of hardening things off and just kind of getting it to where like at least it'll grow. So some of these lettuces are like making my own lettuce bowls. So that's kind of exciting. You can see like what's going on with now that there's no planting, you can really see how the irrigation, how the soaker hose is going to lay out in the bed. And that's going to make it so much nicer, just even for planting. Like that way I can just absolutely group things. And I am absolutely positive that this is garlic, but now I'm starting to think like, is it garlic? Maybe it's, I don't think it was, it's got to be garlic. Trash slows in. So not a lot of action has changed on here. I think now it's just taken me a little bit to kind of figure out how I do want to pot things up. I did see a whole bunch of like cannas, because I do have a bunch of those, and I've been doing some zinnias, but you know, I kind of want to make these like really just beautiful pots and put a couple of things in there. So we'll kind of figure out how that goes. I thinned out the turnips, and I just don't know if they're not, well, I'm starting to see a little bit of action change. Sometimes things are so small, it's hard to really see. I probably can go back through and thin out these a little bit more. I do have some peas that I started in the greenhouse to put on those. And I have, like, there's been no update on, Operation Grady. He is not, well, I haven't seen him, and I haven't been baiting the trap, so I need to start doing that. But since I haven't seen him in the yard, I don't want to like try to bait him over into our yard. If I see him, that's when I'm gonna start doing a thing. Maybe he knows what this is, and this is just enough. We'll see. All right, you can see what's going on with my radishes. They're still coming up. I probably got like another week on them. It looks like I did go back in and thin a couple of them. They are starting to get, yeah, they're starting to get a little bit of a body to them. So that's exciting. And you can see where there's some more peas that are coming up. This is just getting big now. So I think now it's just a matter of consistently watering this bed. We moved some of these pots where the poor lavender was. R.I.P. lavender. We've got the horseradish over here. This, I think I'm either going to put a lemongrass or put ginger in it. So I think that'll be kind of neat, because as we get to this back side where it's all with all the teas, very much a lot of the apothecary items. And we're also on lilac watch. Each day I look at her and I talk to her about blooming, but she's got a lot of really nice leaves on her, and she's never looked like this. I don't think I've ever paid as much attention to her before. She was very much, when I first got her, she was just literally just a little stick. A stick that was just in the ground, and it had like maybe a little bushy top. But now she's got, this beautiful 3 trunks. We'll end up trimming some of this stuff off of there, because I love the way that those 3 trunks will come up and be like a nice, hopefully she can stay in this pot for a little bit. Blueberries, not a lot has changed, but you can be able to see things coming up. I've got, it looks like I got a little fennel coming up in there, as well as maybe a mint. So that's, I'll be able to start pulling out some of the fennel out of this bed and putting it somewhere where I just don't want this filled up with fennel. Like, it's just not the best flavor when you get chamomile and then accidentally get fennel. But I will find a spot for it. This is my, it doesn't look as fabulous, but I did put something like on like my social media of this thing from Aldi's, and it was like $3.99. It was this 6 space grow bag. And so I decided I'm going to turn this into my mint bed. I don't have any mints that are in any places that I planted. So the pots that I had, you know, they just fizzled out of the pots now, and of course some has broken out of the pots, and I have a little growing under the pine tree, but I've been digging that up because I don't want that to become invaded by that. But I would, you know, I have this on a pallet. Each of these are going to be, you know, a different type of mint, because I do like the spearmint, the chocolate mint, and they have like the apple mint. So I think that'll be really nice to kind of put all of this together. These back here are just things with soil, but I think I'm going to, you know, set up my potato beds or sweet potato beds on this as well. I've got the bee balm over here. I've got it nice and ready for when it grows out and can be all gorgeous but contained. Strawberry beds. We added a couple more strawberries from when I pulled apart like that lettuce tower, you know, and that kind of had a couple of strawberries in it. So these beds are starting to really fill out. Ooh, look at that. Look at these green shoots. That's exciting. That's nice and thick too. That's new growth for sure. We like to see that. At least I think we like to see that. I'm so excited about just the fact that things are growing. Let's go look at the V-Grow. There's not a lot happening, but I'll show you what's going on. This is the V-Grow again. I said there hasn't been a lot that's changed in there with the garlic. The only thing is that the African daisies are definitely probably not coming back. So we're going to swap those out with something. Probably just fill that all up with pansies and violets. Chili pepper. My dog's going to be running all across this, so that'll be okay. We'll introduce the world to chili. Now, we haven't cut the grass, and it looks like some of the weeds are a little bit chaotic, but this is dead nettle, and one of the things is it's a really good indicator for soil health, as well as you can be able to take this and put that with that comfrey and just kind of those nutrients that those roots go down there and grab. If you soak that all in water and kind of leach all those nutrients out, you can get a really good fertilizer for your plant. So that's why we're kind of letting it grow. And sometimes you can just chop and drop it, but also pollinators will, you know, love it. The little purple flowers are really nice, as well as we have a couple of dandelions. And I think that that's it when it comes to our garden. So there it is after, you know, 5 weeks, and it is just growing and turning green. Oh, and I didn't even get a chance to show you the serviceberry tree. Okay, so you see what we're working with. Week 5. What I want to tell you is that I am so absolutely grateful that you have let me show my garden as it starts to, you know, come alive from winter to spring, and going along with me for all of my projects, and just kind of creating this whole dream of a garden that is just, you know, so restorative and so like precious to me. And I wanted your garden to be precious to you too, and hope that this inspires you in any way. Thank you for joining me. Once again, my name's Carol, and this is Just Keep Blooming. The irrigation is in the ground.